Hello, I'm Matt Black. I'm about to interview an Aboriginal gentleman by the name of Mick. I'll let him do all the explaining with his titles and whatever else. So just a few things that we'll talk about will be Native Title Act, Stolen Generation, a few other bits and pieces. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting chat as I myself am uneducated in this area. This is where I won't have the questions to ask Mick. I'm just not educated this way. This is why I'm interviewing him, to help not only myself but other people understand stuff that we should have been taught in school, but we're just not privy to that. So yeah, let's go. Let's delve into this.
G'day, I'm Michael Hunter Coughlin, born Michael Hunter in 1961. I was removed from my Aboriginal mother. I would have been a couple of weeks old, I think.
So you're part of the Stolen Generation?
Yeah, so was my mum actually.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I think the act that enabled the government to carry out such acts on us finished in 1963. So I just scraped under the bar by the looks of things and got removed from my mother because it was meant to be for my own good.
Yeah.
So it was not. I think that's used as a common excuse.
Yeah.
And there's also that notion that only took half-caste kids. But I don't know if you've seen any of the archival footage on Stolen Generations, but there's not a lot of half-caste kids. There's a few, but
Yeah.
it's just like any Aboriginal kid, pretty much. And
Yeah.
they targeted different communities and different areas for different reasons.
Yeah.
So not every Aboriginal family or individuals were subjected to this. Apparently, I don't know the percentage, but it wasn't everybody. But when you look at some of that footage, you think it just appears to be like all of us were impacted.
Yeah.
I guess in a way all of us were impacted, whether or not we were directly ones that were taken away or not, because others would have known of people or others that were taken from them.
It would have had a rippling effect.
Yeah, and I think that's why it was undertaken, to disrupt our way of life, to help in the colonisation process, to put the colonisation fingers into everything we did.
Yeah.
And it worked.
Yeah.
But it doesn't, to me, it's not the end of the story, and it never will be.
Yeah.
I think they're hoping that it would just assimilate and that, or die off, I think was the words used at one stage for different Australian leaders.
Yeah, even like if parts of what I say sound racist, pick me up on this.
No, you're right, mate.
I don't want to. I'm not racist.
And I understand that.
Racist, but I could phrase something that could sound racist too.
Yeah, and I won't take it that way.
Yeah, but even to breed Aboriginal people out, I think that was part of their.
That was.
Yeah.
And I think Lang Hancock wanted to poison himself as well.
Yeah.
Openly said tactic. He had no fear of saying that.
Yeah.
Like he was standing in front of TV cameras or whatever, saying this, and so you got to think what that makes us look like,
Yeah.
We're not worth anything. We're subhuman.
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, that was an act that was you're part of the flora and fauna.
Well, that's it. I think they could use the Flora and Fauna Acts to make laws and govern us in ways that's where that comes from.
Yeah, I mean, you weren't even classed as human.
Well, put it this way.
Under there.
Well, in one sense, let's just jump a little bit sideways here. Let's look at native title, right? Native title has come about through, the people of Mir Islands and Eddie Marlowe and his friends challenged the notion of that we don't, the land doesn't belong to us, and they won in the High Court. They won that. It had to go all the way through those legal steps but the final verdict was that in fact we had systems of title, we had our own laws, we had clearly defined boundaries, and most of those are geographical boundaries.
Yeah.
In the case of Mir Islands, they actually erected little stone walls and little fence. They're not enough to keep an animal out, but it delineates.
There's a visual marker.
That's an official marker,
Yeah.
So, and with also Aboriginal people, it was our sacred sites, our painting areas, and the geography. So you knew that by looking at a line of trees, that's where our boundary stopped or started. You knew these things. And you.
Because just describe what you are in your, I guess, your family construct, if that's a word for it. You've said to me you're a kuyeta. So what does that mean? What does that mean?
It means I'm the firstborn son.
Yep.
And so, as a firstborn son, I have responsibility for all my nextborn. So does the firstborn daughter. So the firstborn daughter, who's kuyeta, will be the head of the siblings. But also that we must be treated like we're parents. So as you would treat my mother and father, you treat kuyeta and kuyeta the same. We have even their brothers and sisters, my mum's say brothers and sisters, my uncles, and I must treat me like a brother and sister. Not a nephew. It's sort of, and so we're to step in and provide that support to the younger ones. Not just the younger ones in my family, small family tree, but the cousins as well. First cousins and such. They, so, and I've talked to Birinjara and I've posed the question to them, do they have this similar sort of system? And they said, yeah. And I found, and they answered this question in front of about, I guess about 60 to 80 people in a summer school Birinjara language school that I attended. And we got to pose particular questions at the end in front of this traditional owner panel, made up of three senior men and three senior women and some lecturers and all of us language students for summer school who just spent 2 weeks learning language at Babs and all sorts of cultural stuff. And we got to put a question in the question box for this panel at the end, and mine was the first question that got pulled out. And I meant to give like 5 minutes each on. They love that. My question was, do you have it? I want to know, is it similar in Birinjara? And they went, yes, totally. And they talked about the cultural authority to the firstborns, and they have a title for them as well. I can't remember what they were, but I have a book that has them in it. Because when I went, I remember reading about that in a book called Common Company, or Keeping Company. It's called. It's a cross-cultural reference book. And so I went back and looked, and I went, there it is. It's all, and it's similar for us in that sense. But if you ask some of my other family, they don't know anything about it.
No.
But I only I only found out about it because of I found these two words
Yeah.
that survived, and I went, what do they mean?
Yeah, because your language got decimated
Yeah.
and your culture. And just for people who aren't aware, because, you know, even I wasn't aware until your sister brought it up. I was like, you're just Aboriginal, aren't you? Well, you live in Australia, you've got Aborigines there. It's like, but your sister said, yeah, it's a little bit deeper than that, Matt.
Yep.
You know, this is me not being educated. Like, you don't learn this in school. And it's like, think of it as Europe, like all the little countries. He said, Aborigines have their own countries here. I think you got over 110, is that right? Aboriginal nations in Australia?
I'm not sure. I
Something like that.
I think
But every little culture is different.
the whole land is covered by some tribal nation.
Yeah.
There isn't a square inch.
But what I was trying to make is like, your Aboriginal culture in Peramangk, your Peramangk
Yes.
man.
Yep.
It's slightly different to the Pitjantjatjara.
Yeah, but there's some similarities.
There's similarities, but there are differences.
Yeah, and exactly. We're not all homogenous. We're not just all the same.
Yeah.
Like you say Chinese, and you think Chinese are also, but it'd be the same for them as well.
Yeah.
And I think it is like north, south, east, west, and Chinese are all. They've got their differences. So central, you know, it's just. Yeah. We're the same, but formally we're different. You know, we have even our closest neighbours can be there's some big differences in language, for instance.
Yeah.
You know, or there might be some common language, but there are some differences.
Yeah.
Even body markings and customs.
Yeah.
They're different. Stories and art can be so, and we could be living right next to each other.
Yeah.
And that's what delineates that nation against this nation. You know. Yeah.
But getting back to your, was it kuyeta? Kuyeta. So you've got just trying to phrase
that also extends to my kids. My kuyeta status extends to, but he's the firstborn son of me. He's a kuyeta. I'm a kuyeta from a kuyeta. My mum was a firstborn.
Yeah, okay.
So, and her mum was a firstborn, and so was her father. So there's a long line of cultural authority that flows through.
That's where I was getting to, cultural authority.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about that. What you hold with that?
Well, the way I see it, and the way it's been described to me in the other tribes, is that if you want to speak about anything or permission for anything from the family, kuyeta is who you go to.
Yeah.
Anybody else you got permission from, like somebody younger than me or my cousins or whatever, if you went and got permission from them, it's going to mean nothing.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't have any cultural authority, even though they might be held up as having cultural authority because they're the ones that people have the most contact with and comfortable with. They're not aggro, they're not, you know, in their face or, you know, because this is what's happened, is that people within our family without any cultural authority have been given authority under Western law or systems through native title or just through being more vocal or and burying this thing about cultural authority, not even recognising it.
But even being in a job, they can kind of
absolutely.
They can have that gravitational power of people coming to them.
Political power.
Without knowing that the Aboriginal way of life.
So it doesn't die though. Like people like me are reviving it and just going, you know what? It survives in my blood. Yeah. And as long as I have a breath, I'll be sharing it with my son, and he's going to share it with his children, and my daughters and their children, and so forth and so on. And I've written about it, so it's actually now it's being filtered out there. Yeah. And I hope everybody revives it. You know, there'll be a lot of people that'll fight against it because they're going to lose their political space. They don't have a voice anymore. And
it's like treading on someone's toes.
oh, absolutely, taking away what they've sort of illegally been, culturally illegally, have gained from me. They still run around and just act like they have some sort of authority. They have none.
So these are the people that I myself have called Aboriginal elders, but
well, I didn't even have to be old. I had this. This was mine when I was born. So it could have been referring to me when I was 1 or 2 years old. What do you think, Michael? Should we do it? Should we don't? I'll be like Dalai Lama going, oh, I don't know.
Oh, okay. So that puts it into perspective now. Okay, well that's cool.
They have to. There's you can't work outside of culture. These people go, oh, culture's everything. But as soon as you say, well, this is our cultural way of doing things, they don't want to know about it. It's only cultural things that work for them.
See, Western, I can't speak for everyone, but me myself, see, I wouldn't know that.
No, and some of us, and some of them don't, or they don't want to believe it. But it's the way it is.
There you go.
It's something they don't want to deal with, particularly in the light of treaty and native title.
They kind of know it, but they don't want to acknowledge it.
Well, it's a threat to native title. It's a threat to the treaty process. They're speaking to the wrong people. And they're identifying the wrong people. They're giving them powers that they shouldn't have.
What are your views on the way we're getting governed here today in Australia?
Well, who are we governed by? We're governed by corporations, aren't we? We're not governed by a government of the people anymore. No, we haven't been for some time.
Well, since day dot, it's kind of been.
And even then, the whole Westminster English system is corruptible. Like the way it's structured is that you put people in who you've corrupted into a position of power that then you as a businessman or whatever can influence to get laws made or passed to favour you. I'll say no more.
So what are we living under?
And we've gone even one step removed from that, and the government is now a corporation.
Oh
so in its own right.
I know.
To protect those within it.
Well,
so
that happened in 2008, didn't it?
So we don't have a Commonwealth anymore.
They turned it into a corporation.
I believe we're registered. It's a registered corporation in the USA.
That was through the GFC, wasn't it? To borrow money in case our finances went to hit the wall. We're actually the people who actually work in that corporation are governed by that organisation's constitution, not the Australian Constitution. So what would you call that?
A false construct, mate. It's just, I'd call it. Actually, it was told to me in the federal court when I challenged a native title claim that encroached into our tribal traditional lands under native title, because we haven't put up a native title claim, and nor are we likely to, because of that also as a false construct. And we don't need to. That's the thing. Native title, even in native title preamble, it says our native title already exists within. It doesn't have to be proven or determined unless we want something out of it. I don't want anything out of it. It's recognition that's my land. And I have cultural rights.
And if you and a few others, or even a few others behind your back start, signing contracts with the government, it's going to take away certain things that you've already got now.
Well, I've heard whispers on the grapevine that that's already happening.
Which is kind of what you don't want to do.
No, it's illegal. Like it shouldn't be happening, and they're getting away with it because they're ignoring cultural authority.
Yeah, I mean, basically, you know, from what I can see, what I can gather, you know, this is kind of putting it in a nutshell, you know, even under their own law, like, you know, the British have come over here, set up shop,
Yep.
going, yep, this is ours.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to rape, steal, pillage from, you know,
Mm-hmm.
the Aborigines. We don't care who's here.
That's right.
So they've set up shop illegally.
Yep. Which has been proven, but
Yeah.
they use their own courts to sort of downplay that.
Yeah, yeah.
And their own government.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then they, you know, over the last 240 odd years, you know, they've taken the lands and the culture from you and, you know, this, that and the other. Then they've put the immigrants here,
Yep.
which I'm a descendant of, and said, okay, well, you know, live the Western way, live you know, the European way. We're going to build a street down there. There's a block of land that you can buy from us, which was stolen.
Mm.
And now we, as people, like 240 years later,
Yep.
you know, I've bought this property
Mm.
that I live on
Mm.
that was stolen from the Narrandjeri people.
Yep.
I've got to pay, you know, council rates
Mm.
on stolen Aboriginal land,
Yep.
you know, and the banks have sold this to me, and
All through a false contract and
Yeah.
false premise of
and
ownership.
it's you, if I was to sell stolen goods, I'd be put in jail.
That's right. Everything should be frozen.
Yeah.
All assets should be frozen until returned to the original owners.
That's right. But here we are,
Here we
and
are.
like that's where I get frustrated and upset, and I just go, well, I shouldn't have to pay for bloody stolen Aboriginal land.
No, but the thing is that in such a case, somebody needs to claim that it's stolen. Like, I need to step forward and go, you've stolen my land and I'm challenging you that you own it.
Yeah.
I don't have the money to do that. I don't have the backing, like, politically or economically,
Yeah.
or probably even socially to do that.
Yeah.
There'll be others who've got political power given to them through the white man who'll work against me.
But this is
Yeah.
another thing, like,
Yeah.
because they've set up shop here illegally,
Mhm.
call it, like even they've set up all the court system, they've set up all that, they've got the police in check, they've got the army.
Mm.
So for an Aboriginal like yourself
Mm.
to step into a false construct
Yeah,
of
that
court,
wasn't an losing game to start with.
like it's their rules.
Yeah,
You're
exactly.
going into their
That's why I
rules.
realised I went to the federal court.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what I say. It's all it's going to be in their benefit at the end of the day. Anyway, it's their game, like, and they know
Yeah.
how to play it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like they just got you cornered,
Absolutely.
and you know, if you don't play into our rules, then we're
Yeah.
just going to turn you over hand and fist. So you, as an Aboriginal person,
Mm-hmm.
like when you go into court, like they've got the game covered.
In every sense.
Like you should not have to, as an Aboriginal person, go into their game
Mm-hmm.
when they've set up false construct
Yep.
on stolen Aboriginal land.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
And defend myself.
yeah,
Well, that's exactly what happened in the federal court.
yeah,
I went into court to challenge the fact that another Aboriginal nation had moved their boundary over into ours under native title so they could steal it from us under native title because their claim was in first.
yeah,
Once those boundaries are locked in under native title, it's basically law.
yeah,
And they can call themselves traditional owners of that land, which they have been doing since.
yeah,
And I've stood up and said to different quarters, no, they're not the traditional owners. They've got a native title boundary that overlaps ours, our nation boundary.
So you've got one Aboriginal nation and your nation
Yep.
having a dispute.
Well, not even a dispute. They're just rolling over me,
Yeah,
over us, me,
Yeah,
them,
yeah.
everybody. Yeah.
but then you have to go into, you know, white man's law to try and sort it out.
I know.
It's just
Yeah, no. Well, I'm not going to win that, and
Yeah.
I realised that again when I went to federal court, and I rocked up there. It was just me on my own.
yeah,
And they had a whole bank of lawyers all paid for by
yeah,
white men
yeah,
under native title.
yeah,
They had all the who else? The anthropologist support. They had everything.
yeah,
And here's this one guy standing up there going,
yeah.
you know.
Yeah,
And so for the first few hours, I was trying to play their game.
yeah, yeah,
And then, and I wasn't, you know, I suppose I wasn't doing too much of a bad job, but at the end of the day, it was a losing battle.
yeah,
All I wanted to do, all I realised I could do at that point was get things on the record.
yeah,
So I made sure I was making statements that would be recorded
yeah.
for and they can't
Future
erase that.
generation.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's legal. It has to be preserved.
yeah,
So even if I said something absurd or whatever, it goes on court record for who knows how long.
yeah,
Which is why I did it. I want to put on the record that these guys have done what they've done, and this is what they'll do in the future with it.
yeah,
And they kept denying it. No, we won't do that.
yeah.
And they've gone ahead and done that since the end of the court case.
All right. So, I was gifted this from the great man here, Michael. What's it called, mate?
Yidaki.
A yiraki.
Yeah.
Most people call them didgeridoos, but in the traditional language of
The Yunu.
Yulno, they call them yiraki. What?
Yidaki.
Yirakis. That's it. So, you've given me special permission to paint in
In our colours, red and white.
Yeah.
Oh, well, red, ochre red,
yeah,
and white.
Yeah.
Predominantly red ochre as your background, and thin white stripes for your
yeah.
or bands of the white.
Yeah, cool. All right. So.
Yep.
There we go. Cool. So I've got cultural authority to paint in peramangk.
Yeah, that'd be good, mate.
Yeah. Alright.
So,
Put this away before I drop it. Hit the tiles. Dang. Alright, did you want to talk about your just your story alone? Just with your stolen generation?
yeah, it's a long one, as you know. So
Yeah.
I don't know. It's always how long's a piece of string sometimes. Like,
We've already spoken about half of my questions in here. So just tell us how you found your actual name.
oh, okay. Yeah. So I don't know if we've already covered this, but yeah, we did. We said that I wasn't about 2 weeks old when I was basically. I don't even know the term, but I ended up with a non-Aboriginal family who knew my mother, who lived 2 doors down from these people, and they ended up bringing me up like enough. And I think it was always like, it seemed like an informal thing, but then sort of got the sense that there must have been some formal sort of process involved, because when I turned 21,
Yeah.
Mum and my youngest brother turned up at my door.
That's your biological mum.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
not long after my 21st birthday.
Yeah.
And I only found out a few years ago, going through the stolen generations reparation process, that was probably because the adoption order or whatever that was in place prohibited her from having any contact with me until I turned 21. And then it sort of made sense.
Yeah.
And I sort of broke down a bit. It was the conveners for that process that sort of posed that to me as a possibility.
Yeah.
And I spoke about, well, I think that was right. I spoke too about that with my thesis supervisor, Dr. Sue Anderson, about how Mum used to walk past it. Apparently, as part, interviewing some of the adoptive family, they used to say how they recall Mum walking past the front of their house. We'd be out the front one, sitting on the porch like that in the sun, and I'd be a little baby in the pram. Mum would be walking past with two other kids, I think they were two, it says maybe Mandy and Cheryl.
Yeah.
But I don't know, it could be younger ones, like one was walking and one was in the pram.
Yeah.
So, and I was, say maybe 1 or 2 years old, so it could have been Malcolm, the youngest in the pram, it could have been Mandy or Cheryl walking alongside. She'd walk across the other side of the road, and I thought, well, when I got told that, I was like, oh, she just abandoned me, and she didn't really care too much about me. And putting the two, like then my supervisor suggested maybe that was the only way she could see you.
Yeah.
And then it dawned on me, well, if there was an order in place, so that way she could always see that I was okay. If she went past and there I was.
Yeah, it's very special.
Yeah, and it sort of.
It's sad but special,
Yeah, and it was sort of relieving in a way, because I'd always carried this thought that it didn't mean anything to her. Yeah, but obviously the fact.
That's the part that's made it break you.
Probably.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah, well,
the
psyop
of stolen generation.
Yeah, they don't care for you.
Yeah.
You've got no friends. Yeah. Well, your friends have dogged you. That sort of approach to breaking you down.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, when I come to that, realised that she'd already passed away. So, and we could never really fully connect because of these issues. Yeah, so obviously I wasn't brought up with my biological family. And by the age of 6, the woman who adopted me was in her 40s, and Frank, her partner, not even married, Frank Coughlin, had taken me under their wing basically, and I was just this little baby, and they were in their late 40s or mid 40s, I think, or early 40s, can't remember now. And I was sort of the glue to their relationship by the sounds of it. It helped
strengthen the family unit.
Yeah, and it was something special. I remember those times as best ever times.
Yeah.
Some of the things we travel around Australia together, spent a lot of time in Queensland.
Yeah.
And then she got sick. She had a heart condition, and then she passed away by would have been about 6 years old.
Yeah.
And then everything changed. I had to go and build or stay with other families while Dad worked, and then.
Because I've read your little biography, and some of those things that those families did to you were.
And I haven't mentioned
cruel.
I haven't mentioned a lot of what we do, and I only mentioned some of the stuff that's a bit palatable.
Yeah.
So.
The stuff he's written about in his journal is. Going.
You wouldn't do it to them.
No, you did.
You couldn't see it and do it to a child. So I look at my children and I think I couldn't expect them to go through something like that, and I don't wish they ever would.
Yeah.
And I could just see the light in their eyes dim because of those sort of things.
It's a lot of racial stuff. I mean, I think there was one part where you said you stayed with a family, and the mother of that family didn't want you staying in the caravan because you were Aboriginal. And what you were like, you're only a young boy.
4 or 5 years old.
Yeah, and to leave a child out in the desert, which gets to minus whatever at night.
It was, yeah, it was pretty cold.
So
I was in the annex, the caravan annex. It was just a canvas awning, basically, with sides on it.
Yeah.
No floor or anything.
No. So
And a big gap under the caravan where the wind would come in.
Yeah, so to leave a child out in like freezing cold weather, like that's that's
alone.
part of how you got treated.
I was alone, yeah. That was when Mum was sick and had to go to Adelaide, back to Adelaide. Yeah, it was a few years after she passed away, but yeah, that was all those sort of little things.
But tell us about your schooling. You went to school, but you kind of enjoyed the kinship of other Aboriginal kids. And how did you learn about certain parts of their culture, I guess?
Oh, we'd always gravitate to each other. Yeah. I mean, I went to a variety of schools up until the age of about 11 years old.
Yeah.
In New South Wales, Queensland, here in South Australia, Clare. There was one point I grew up around Broadmeadows or Elizabeth Northway before I went to Queensland, so I'd been to school there. There was a lot of what I call Noongar kids, Aboriginal kids back then as well. The whole neighbourhood sort of was a bit more mixed.
But what did they show you? Like,
I remember in Queensland a couple of kids showed me how to make trucks in the sand with just using your body parts.
Yeah.
So they make turtle tracks and bird, and they looked like the real thing.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I sort of picked it up from them, and then I practiced it, and then I was passing it on to other kids later on when I moved back to South Australia.
Yeah.
But there was an incident around that as well, because we were practicing that in the sandpit. Some other non-Aboriginal boys came in and started calling us racist names. Yeah, it's just the way, like you tend to know other Aboriginal kids, like to stand out. I don't know, it's just a natural gravitation to each other.
Yeah.
And like I always knew I was Aboriginal, like that was never hidden from me. In fact. It didn't. The concept of Aboriginal within a white family didn't hit until later, like psychologically until later on. I was just an Aboriginal kid in the family, like it was just, that's just the way, it didn't seem like that was an issue or a complication. In fact, I was watching a movie last night and it made me think of that. I was watching a movie called The Mid-90s about this young boy, 12, 13 years old, start hanging around with a skate crew in I think it was in LA in the mid-90s, and I was talking about they're sitting around just yelling with each other in the skate shop, it's like a lounge area in the skate shop where one of them or a couple of them worked, and just shooting the breeze. And then anyway, one of the older kids says to one of the obviously black African guys about the racial issue and and he said, sometimes it's worse than others. Other times I feel that racist stuff going on. And anyway, the new kid in the group, this young boy, so the black guy says to him, what do you think about black people? And this little fucker was like looking at him going, didn't know what to say, so I was staring at him, and he's like looking at the others and he's going, what's a black person? He's going, yeah, cool man, I love that answer. This is what And I thought, I was a bit like that. I was like, well, what's the big deal here? You know? Apart from, it's a big deal when you get teased and called names and racist stuff thrown at you. but then it washes away the next day, and you realise it's just those it's not everybody.
No.
It's those people.
Yeah.
But it's not. But then you get older and you realise, well, hang on a minute, there is some systematic stuff going on.
Yeah.
And it's not just those individuals, although you can blame those individuals, but who should you really be blaming?
Yeah.
You know, it's like, let's just, broaden this out a bit, and
Flush it out.
So, but that mid-90s thing, what's the blackface? Like, he honestly just said in that, so honest, like, I don't know the difference. Well, I don't know what the concept you're talking about.
Yeah.
You're a person to me. Yeah.
Isn't that a great view?
Yeah. Said from the mouth of a babe.
Yeah.
Pretty much, Yeah. So then later on, until about the age of 11, I was still moving around different places in Australia, and I ended up back in South Australia with the Heffernan, who initially adopted me, and that was her mother that took me to Queensland, and then she passed away, and then went and stayed with the adopted sisters. They're all 15, 14 years older than me, so I was like one of their kids, not the youngest brother. And she'd married into Aboriginal family, the Kuyeta family. So, and Kuyeta said Jim was like Nana and Poppy to me, and they're Binjara people, and they had a lot. They passed on to me as well.
Oh, okay.
And so did their sons and daughters. And we'd play, and so I never really was short on cultural upbringing, but other Aboriginal people have assumed that because I've been adopted, that they're more cultural than me.
Oh, okay.
And I've been going to Northern Territory as a boy since the age of 11 as well, learning from Warlpiri and Warramunga people.
Yeah.
And interacting again with people there locally. And that was a very racist, and still is a racist sort of area.
Yeah.
But amongst all that, there were a lot of good interracial friendships that were happening and struck up, and it lived and died,
Yeah.
So even in a racial maelstrom, there can be some good in there somewhere.
Yeah.
And I found pockets of that there.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, sometimes they sort of spin off into little whirlies to the side, and you spin back into the main one. And that's just the way it is. I think even growing up in the adopted family, they realise sometimes how racist they were. And it's like, well,
it's a different generation too. Like we're talking like 60s and 70s. So.
Well, they were teenagers in the 60s. Yeah.
So with society in general has evolved in the last 40 years as well.
Different.
Different
makeup.
You wouldn't say any of the stuff.
Well, now it's a bit more. People recognise it as racist, whereas 20
back
years
then
ago,
it was having a bit of play on words.
Yeah, it was just like washed over, because it's like everybody says it,
Yeah.
I mean, how many times on the football field would you have come across? I come across it a lot.
Yeah. There's been a few incidences lately.
Still
Happening.
Yeah, it's still happening. But the difference is that now people call it out.
Yeah, they call it out, and now the people that have done it are going, oh, hang on, I did do wrong. And they actually try and make up for it,
Well, they realise that the things I was saying before isn't really just window dressing, it's actually for real. You can't just say this to get popularity or to sort of be part of a campaign because, you've got a profile and it helps the campaign.
Yeah.
You gotta live and breathe it, you gotta believe it, you gotta be part of it, or fuck off. Don't even get involved.
I feel for the Indigenous players playing certain sports, because not the sport itself, but it's the fan base that can turn against you. And it's like, well,
yeah.
You know.
But even that's changed because they're getting called out, they're getting pulled up, and they're actually getting punished for it. You know?
Yeah.
And it's the way it should have been always, but it's sort of been the last bastion of, it's okay to be it if you're just at a football match and or you're playing footy, get somebody, you could be racist, just like you could punch them in the face. You'd go up in front of the tribunal or whatever, but you still could do it. You know?
Like the soccer fans, it's just like they just run right down the street.
And go and beat each other up after the game.
You wouldn't do that normally, would you?
Come back, do it again next time. Yeah.
It's funny how that bloody brings, like, a soccer game would bring something like that.
Just chuck all the rules out the window.
Yeah, it's like, well, we're going to behave like this if our team loses. It's like, whoa, hang on.
Just need the right and the left wing part of the ground and throw it at each other.
Yeah. It's quite barbaric, isn't it? It kind of brings it back, to fighting in a field, medieval war.
Well, the thing is that over the last 20 or so years, the sport has become more of a family entertainment.
Yeah, I've kind of taken. I don't watch football anymore because of my issues, but
so new values have come in.
Yeah, I mean, I can see how they've changed the game.
Yeah.
So it's more mum and kid friendly.
Yeah.
And once I've done it, they've taken all the big hitters out.
Yeah.
You can't hit and tackle like that anymore
Right.
because little Billy, and mum doesn't want little Billy to be hurt.
That's right.
So yeah, they've kind of.
It's changed, yeah. But, people at our generation would go, well, that's a detriment to the game, because it was one of the reasons I played it, because you could get aggressive, you could take it all out on the field, It was a one level playing field where, alright, well, if the rules are gone, then they're gone for all the players on the field, not just you.
Yeah.
So if you want to play that way, we're going to play that way, and I'm allowed to play that way back. So it was sort of lived and died on the field, but then there was a lot of spectator stuff that went on that I never really could stomach much. And there were times I just felt like taking my jumper off and walking off the field and just going, well, come on then.
Yeah.
I'm not a player right now.
Yeah.
I've just quit.
Send me off umpire.
I'm just walking off.
Yeah,
there's been,
And tell us about your running, history.
Yeah, I sort of, football led me to running in a way. I gave up all sport for a few years, sort of early 20s to late 20s. Didn't do anything at all.
Yeah.
And I ballooned out to about 120 kilos.
Whoa.
Yeah, I was a big balloon basically. I'm 100 kilos now, so I was another 20 kilos heavier than this. In my running weight, I'm normally around 80 kilos, so I'm 20 kilos heavier than that. So what happened is I went back to play football to lose that weight and get a bit fitter, and I played club football for Brum Lodge and then Salisbury North, and then during the summer break, after we'd gone all the way through the season undefeated and won the grand final, and thought, I might continue that, I might continue. I need to keep myself in shape. But a couple of weeks after the grand final, I went to get some chiropractic work done just to keep loose, and then I was going to go to the gym and do something, bike riding or anything. And he was in the city gym, an old sort of fellow, and he goes, he sort of looked at my physique, he goes, you look like a runner. I said, I'm fast. I said, I used to run at school.
Yeah.
In the athletics carnivals, always sort of be pretty quick, you get a ribbon or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, he said, "Have you ever considered running professionally?" I said, "Didn't even know about it." You know? He said, "Oh, I know some trainers who train down at West Terrace on the corner there at the Adelaide High School Oval." He said, if you're interested, give you their names, and if you give you something to do over summer, because I told him I wanted to play football next year."
Yeah.
He said, "Just even if you go and join the training, and then you'll be right for next season."
Yeah.
So, all right, yeah. So I went down there. The first trainer I walked up to, he spoke to him, Keith Aston, his name was, and he already had what they call a stable full of runners.
Yeah.
And so he said, he goes, "Oh," he just asked me, he said, "What do you like?" And I said, "Well, like most of these guys here, probably same thing, we could win races at high school." I said never was into little athletics.
Yeah.
So I just thought that was, you have to get picked for that. I didn't realise you could just roll up there and do it.
Yeah.
And nobody, like when you're a adopted kid, nobody goes, "Oh, let's go to little athletics," you know.
Yeah.
So I said I never did the little athletic change, but I said I'm quick. That old fella over there, Bob Gray, he could probably take another runner or two. If you want to go and speak to him, he might take on. So I walked over there, and basically me and Bob hit it off straight away. Like old fella,
Yeah.
old railways man, and been training runners for at that point probably 20 or 30 years.
Yeah.
Took me on. He said, "Look, don't expect to win races straight away because it's professional running. It's all under handicap. You have to build your handicap up, and then you could probably start knocking a few races off us," in his words. You know? He said, "Let me see you stride through and run through." He said, "Don't try and run fast, just run in the normal action,
Yeah.
so I can have a look."
Yeah.
And so I sort of run down there. I think I probably ran faster than I should have,
Yeah.
but he was astute enough to see, well, there's something there.
Yeah.
So he took me on, and it didn't take as long as we thought to win my first novice race, 70 metre sprint.
Yeah.
Probably after the first year of competing, I gave football away for a few years after that. Yeah, so from there, Bob showed me, we won the first race after about a year, and then from there just started really aiming for a lot of the bigger races and bigger prize money races, and we knew I could mix it with the best of them.
So what were your times?
I won a 70 metre final at the Bay Sheffield Carnival in 7.4 seconds flat. I won that. I was off a handicap. I was off a handicap of 8.75 metres from the scratch line. You've got to take off about a second if you're running on grass, and particularly that one's like a big carpet.
Yeah.
So if I ran that similarly off a handicap 70 metres on tartan track, the times would be even quicker than that. So, So 7.4 seconds flat, 7.40 is a fast time.
On a spongy surface.
On a spongy surface into the wind.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's like 10 metres a second.
It's going quick.
Yeah.
And I ran 7.41 in my heat to beat the Hope from Victoria. He was a Bendigo gift winner.
Yeah.
What was his name? I don't know, who cares? Take that. Yeah, well, he was the great white hope, I suppose.
Yeah.
He was supposed to win, but he didn't. Yeah.
Ah.
Some little local lad out in green, and
he snuck through. Yeah.
Snuck through. Beat him in the photo finish in the heat easily though. I knew I had him.
Yeah.
And then I knocked off the other local hope in the semi-finals by quite a margin. No, in the photo finish as well, but I gave him a head start.
Yeah.
I just let him, and then in the last 20 or 30 metres put the turbo on
and
hit the line and beat him.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, alright, 2 photo finishes, but here I am, I'm in the final. It's now, I'm just going to put the foot to the floor.
Yeah.
From the moment I hear the bee and that bang,
Yeah.
which is what I did as soon as that gun went bang, I was away.
Yeah.
And they almost thought I had a false start. It was that good of a start.
Yeah.
I had about a 3-metre jump on the field at the gun.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's huge in running.
It is huge, yeah.
Yeah.
So the 2 other locals who were running pretty good times, 7.5s or whatever, I went past them in the first 2 steps.
Yeah.
I knew. And from that time I just switched the turbo and it was like foot to the floor.
What was your fastest time?
I ran it in a place called Tennant Creek. I'd gone and run 100 metres race up there on St Patrick's Day at the race course 3 years straight, and I'd won the race off scratch 3 years, just against local coach. Sometimes some people from Alice would come up and run it.
Yeah.
It was $500 prize money,
Yeah.
plus a return the ticket from Tennant Creek to Alice Springs. So it was worth winning, I suppose, for a weekend race.
Yeah. What was your time?
Well, the funny thing is, another guy I was running against wanted to run in the Arafura Games, so he had to have an official time. So 3 timekeepers came down, official timekeepers came down, and it was him and myself that ran off in the final. It was a funny start. The gun went twice. It went bang, and I was almost taking a step. I didn't step off.
Yeah.
Neither did the other guy. We both sort of went, and as we were in that, it sort of felt like an eternity. The second gun went, and we both paused, and it was like something in me just said, "Just fucking go!" So, bang! So I went, and he went as well. So he was just behind me, and again just foot to the floor, and it felt like I was running quite well, and I didn't know whether they were going to rerun it or what, but I just thought, just run.
Yeah.
Hit the tape, I won, and they clocked the time. It was on a dirt track, it was on the racetrack, so it was pretty hard.
Bit gravelly.
A bit sandy and a bit whatever. So I'm walking back to the timekeepers, they're looking at the watches and looking at each other. And they said, "Oh, you're the one going for the Arafura Games?" I said, "No, Warren is." Yeah. And they said, "Oh, you want to run in the Arafura Games?" I said, "No, not really." So I'm generally a professional runner. I don't really like sort of advertising my times or whatever, because there's prize money involved and stuff. And they said, "Oh, okay, do you want to know what you run?" I said, "Yeah." And he said, "Well, we've averaged your time because there was a faster one, there was a little bit slower one." He said, "But we put your official time for 100 metres is 10.47 on this track."
Yeah, right.
I went, "You're kidding me." And I said, "That was with like a half a second delay at the start."
Yeah. What are they running now in the Olympics?
Just under 10 seconds, yeah. But the Australian guy ran 10 seconds, 10.0.
And they've got all the spiked shoes and
and all the training,
all the track and
everything perfect, yeah.
So you're pretty much Olympian standard. Yeah.
Well, I said to my son during the Olympics, I said, "Well, if I got a sex change, I could probably win gold in the women's race." Got to change. Definitely not a final. Yeah. Michelle Collin. They're all lining up for Australia, yeah. This is a joke. But yeah, I was running probably that day, if we hadn't had that pause. Remember, hand timing isn't precise, that's why they have 3 and they average it. So I would have been very close to a Olympic qualifying time to make the Olympic squad, put it that way.
Yeah.
And then who knows, maybe equal what that guy did or better, who knows.
But there was
I'm not saying I'm an elite runner because I'm nowhere near that, but I was good enough to win about 16 professional races and make the semi-finals of the Stall Gift.
Yeah, well they found fossil records. I think it was New South Wales somewhere. It's the fastest runner in the world. And yeah, Aboriginal. But he was running in the mud. And I think from the footsteps, they averaged his time at about 8 seconds.
Oh, that's fast.
Over 100 metres.
Yeah. With no shoes.
No shoes,
in the mud.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just like, huh?
Yeah.
You know, that you think you're good now, and it's like, well, back in the day when you're hungry.
Yeah.
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 So yeah, there you go. Aboriginals are known to be.
Yeah. But I was polished at that stage. Like I'd done probably 6 years worth of training with the trailer.
Yeah.
So when I went to Bob, I thought I was a runner,
Yeah.
but he made me into a proper runner.
Oh yeah.
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 I was highly tuned and
Yeah.
like could turn it on and off, and it helped. I went back to playing footy. It helped on the footy field as well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
All right, we'll leave it there.
Yeah.
Um,
We'll have some other day, I suppose.
Thank you, Mick. Cheers.
Yeah.
Um,
Matt.
I'm going to gouge him with some tattoo needles now.
Yeah, bugger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks, mate.
Thanks for your time. Cheers.
Hit me up on Twitter.
Something like that.
That's what they were saying in the Olympics.